How should you plan for artificial intelligence and its impact on you? I'm going to start with this story that came out earlier this month about the CEO at Shopify, who sent out an email to all of his staff talking about AI and the fact it was now mandatory for all employees. What he was saying is that AI proficiency has to be there. It's no longer an option for all staff, not just the programmers, the coders, but for everybody. Non-use of AI requires justification. If you want more resources, you want to do something, you want an investment, and you're not using AI in Shopify, you have to say why that is appropriate. He wants it done in the early stages of projects, and he wants it in getting stuff done as well, to make sure that they accelerate things. And it's going to be in the accountability of all employees to show how they're looking at tools and learning tools. Now, I think this is overdone, but it's a sign of the change we're getting. Companies need to leverage AI. If your competitors leverage it faster than you do, you are going to be behind the game. So that is why this is such an important topic and why we need to move quickly. But also, of course, there's a risk. And yes, I did pay to use this cartoon. I'm a big fan of my cartoonists. And here we have a meeting and everybody's AI assistant has turned up. That might be really efficient for Jen's AI note taker to turn up if everybody else was human. It might be really efficient for Lisa, for her AI assistant to turn up if everybody else was human. But if most people turning up are just the AI assistants, we are not going to get something usefully done. So how do we get the balance right? How do we make sure that we're using AI to deliver real efficiencies? And I'm going to talk about scenario planning. And in scenario planning, we think about what different sorts of future might happen. We don't try to forecast a specific future. We say, maybe it's going to be A, maybe it's going to be B, maybe it's going to be C. So we're going to plan for all three of them and decide how we're going to use that information. We also need to think about the timeline, the scenario cone. If we're too close to today, there's not enough activity to make us unsure. If it's too far away, there are too many possible different outcomes. So we pick a horizon. And at the moment, the horizon is really short. 2 to 3 years in scenario thinking is a really short horizon. And that's because the speed of change is just so fast. When working with scenarios, we need to make some assumptions. So when we're talking about technology, we assume that the technology works, or at least it's believed to work. We assume that 80% of research at the moment is conducted in North America and Europe, so all the scenarios have to take that into account. We're not going to start thinking that suddenly it's going to be 50% in Asia or something like that. We're also going to take notice that about 50% of all research projects are conducted internally by clients, and this is a growing trend. So our scenarios need to allow for that as we develop them. So I'm going to show you some scenarios that I broadcast back in November 2023. So what's that, a year and a half ago? And at that time, I had a time horizon of 3 to 5 years. So these forecasts should have come true in between about November 2026 and November 2028. Remember, ChatGPT was only launched 12 months before I made these forecasts. That just reminds you how rapidly things are moving. And I said that we're going to have scenarios around more synthetic data. Clearly that has come true already. Hyper-regulated AI. We're on the cusp. We may be looking at deregulation, or we may be looking at regulation. The EU has got lots and lots of regulation through the pipeline. The US is looking at massively deregulating. 360 degrees AI. This is AI that allows you to go from start to finish in one tool. And we're beginning to see that. We're seeing conversational analysis tools around video analysis that go from the data collection to the processing to the reporting in one stage. secondary research, more use of information that we already have, more smart self-serve, really intelligent DIY programs, and a shift to qual, because suddenly we can do qual at scale, we can work with much bigger sets. And I think we can see elements of all of those coming through at the moment. What are the key drivers? One of the key drivers is data quality. There are massive concerns about traditional online panel data quality. Is it fraudulent? Is it bogus? Are people really taking attention? And so on. We have the AI revolution taking place that's changing everything. We have some real issues around the economy globally, the tariff wars and so on. And there are geopolitical threats where countries are beginning to face each other off. New patterns are taking place. We may see some non-tariff barriers to trade coming through. If we stick with the data quality issues, the first one is about the quality of the information. But the second one is cost. It simply costs too much to get a lot of data. There is a speed issue. It's got faster and faster and faster. But actually, a lot of the time, we'd like it instant. And we have a narrowing base. Fewer and fewer people are taking part in research. There's a little bit of a side note here that's very interesting. There is a growth in CATI. At most of the recent events I've been to and talking to some of my clients, CATI is making a little bit of a comeback. It's never going to be massive again. But when people need quality, quite often they're going to CATI, so they know they're talking to real people. The big trend I'm seeing from the client side is this 10-20-70. A lot of my key clients are talking about this. 10% of a good solution is about the quality of the artificial intelligence. 20% is about the quality of the data they're working with and the way they've been able to connect it. And 70% is to do with the people and their interface with current systems. This is workflow. How does the new system slot into what you already have and improve things? And what we're seeing are the new startups are actually struggling with this much more than some of the old conventional, quite large research companies, because the startups don't understand the workflow. And we've got to get that workflow right. You don't need the best AI. You need great workflow. So this is The Black Swan. It was the title of a book by Nassim Nicholas Taleb a little while ago, and it talks about discontinuities, unexpected changes. And we've had a lot of them recently. ChatGPT was an unexpected change for most people outside the AI industry. DeepSeek, a really, really good large language model from China, developed quickly, developed inexpensively. Gemini 1.5 has got a 2 million tokens context window. To tell you how big that is, ChatGPT, when it launched, had got 4,096 tokens in its context window. That means it holds much more stuff in its brain. Chain of thinking, or the reasoning models that we're seeing coming in, are changing the standard again. Retrieval augmented generation is changing the way that information is stored and accessible and used. Yes, we've got these trade and tariff wars, another discontinuity. Multimodal models are beginning to replace the large language models, so we more video and more images. Agentic research, agentic AI is the big thing for the last maybe 2 or 3 months. We're seeing more local models where you can download the model onto your own server and it's no longer out there on the internet beyond control. And distilled models where you take a model, you get rid of some of it and you add in a lot more of your own information and you have something which is identifiably yours. What else is going to happen? Well, we might have artificial general intelligence, or we might not. We are almost certainly going to have new players. Digital twins, where we take people and we make a complete replica of how they might respond, how they might behave, allowing us to do much more modeling. We are going to see much more AI. Some of the AI and deep fakes have come along already. It's pretty impressive, but it's going to be much more so over the next couple of years. And there will be lots and lots of new things this year and next year that I haven't mentioned in the list, that I am not even aware of, are coming through. We're in that level of change and churn. One of the things to bear in mind with all of these global worries, we might be going into a recession. We might be going into significant trade wars. We might be going into inflation. None of those will change the direction that AI is taking us on. It will change the speed of adoption, but it won't change the direction. That is already set. So, what do I now think, a year and a half since my last scenarios, that I think the future is going to be a blend of? Conversational data collection leading to smart data collection. This is growing bigger than I thought it was going to do. It's going to become probably the dominant method. It will help deal with identifying bots and fraudulent data collection in the near future. We're going to see this growth in qualitative. I said that a year and a half ago. It's starting to happen. We're going to see more of it. End-to-end AI tools, I call them 360-degree tools. We are seeing these coming through, and these are going to be a much bigger part. If you're a software vendor, you don't want to be doing one piece in the middle, because people are going to be looking for end-to-end solutions. We are going to see this growth in smart self-serve. DIY tools are going to get much easier to use. They're going to get much safer to use. We're going to see massive growth in synthetic data and personas right across the industry. And we're going to see no research. This is where, rather than create artificial people and then ask these artificial people questions, you ask the AI, when is the right time to launch this product? How many products should I have? What are the main color schemes? Because for some of those questions, the AI can give you an answer without doing research and without creating artificial people. And the final scenario I'm going to talk about are the rise of the AI Jedis. So the AI Jedis, they're going to use AI as a power for change. That's the force that they're going to be using. We're going to be looking, moving from the manual to things that appear almost magic, where you can look at large chunks of things and ask the AI to summarize it, to create it, to innovate, to create a video presentation from you, from the insights that it's extracted. The masters, the Jedi masters who can use this force, will do it in ways that most people can't. They will be much more powerful. And they're going to use it to advance the cause of insights, evidence-based decision-making. So the choices you can be making. One, you could be an AI Jedi. You can apply the 10-20-70 rule, ensuring success by getting the 70% right. That's the people and the interactions. Be a second mover. By that I mean an early adopter or an early majority. Most innovators will suffer. Most laggards will suffer, and probably most later majority types are going to suffer. The sweet spot, I think, is looking at what's working, picking up on it, and adapting it. And also identify things that AI won't do in the next 3 years. For example, if we're thinking about surveys or we're thinking about qualitative information, understanding what is not said and understanding things that are said but which are not true are particularly human skills at the moment, and I think they're going to be really valuable.